Hi everyone. So we're on part I want to say 8 of this what if Sakura was a Senju. I didn't pre-record this in time like I had intended to. So I'm just gonna really quickly squeeze out part what is this part anyway? Part 8? Yeah, part 8. I'm just gonna really quickly squeeze it. And basically it's going to be detailing the period of training that went on in that 3-year time skip. We're not going to be focusing too heavily on anyone, just basically saying where they're going to be when Naruto gets back. So, really, the only people in the village who are going to be getting stronger than what we see in the actual story would be Sakura, would be Sasuke, would be Naruto, and maybe even a little bit of Kakashi because he actually has Sasuke there to train with and to help him keep sharp as well. Sasuke, if you're paying attention to my Naruto in what if Naruto kept the scroll of sealing after the Mizuki incident, that is the kind of Sasuke. If in any scenarios where Sasuke actually does stay in the village, that's essentially the Sasuke who you get after the 3-year time skip. Very capable, has probably not as many jutsu under his tree as tree. Sorry, it's Family Guy saw it, and literally there's a tree on the screen that's got a face under his belt like Kakashi is, but he's got a lot. He's refined his skills. He still has a couple of his own techniques, like the Great Dragon Fire Jutsu, which causes the clouds, and the Kirin technique. So yeah, absolutely, you'll see Sasuke do that. He probably has a blade of his own. Hell, maybe Kakashi even fixed the lightning blade or the chakra saber and gifted it to Sasuke as a reward for training. Sakura is a much different. Sakura is going to actually improve a lot in this scenario because she's going to probably train under Tsunade. I almost feel like that's guaranteed. So medical ninjutsu, the super strength, and the fact that she does have some knowledge being a Senju of the Senju line and things along those lines. So that aids in her ability to train. Likewise, she'll probably train with Yamato as well, meaning she's going to, over 3 years, gain an immense control over her wood release jutsu. But before anyone gets it's like, yo, you're gonna make her overpowered, and you're gonna give her like, no, she can probably do, and this is gonna sound weird, but let me explain the phrasing. She can pretty much do whatever Hashirama could, but on a lower scale. Like she can do the Great Forest Emergence, but compared to what Hashirama could do, it's bit like if this entire screen represents what the first. If this entire screen represent what the first was capable of as full power doing the forest, Sakura can maybe do boom, boom, like that much. Like she can do maybe a sixth of that, maybe even a seventh of that, which is still very impressive. And with a proper training and um, discipline from both Tsunade and Yamato, she could definitely pull that off. She could even probably do that. What was it called? Like the Great Buddha, that Buddha statue that he did. But again, lower level juice. Like it's nowhere near as big as his is, but still a very effective technique. So you'll be seeing a lot of that, plus medical ninjutsu, plus super strength, and overall probably learning more earth and water jutsu as well. Naruto's the interesting thing. Now, first off, someone asked the question that if Sakura's a Senju, why does that make Naruto? Why does someone else being something else make Naruto stronger? Well, Naruto basically to keep up with his two teammates, more or less had to try to figure out new ways of fighting. So, new ways of strengthening himself. So that led to him being stronger in his normal canon version, or then the normal canon version. So you'll get Jiraiya and him training. Now, what Jiraiya initially taught him during that time span was to make a bigger Rasengan, training with the Kyuubi chakra, which you'd get that, and that would still probably be in this general form. He could do, but he'd probably have more control over the three-tailed cloak than he did initially. Excuse me. Um, but where Naruto stands right now, currently, is he's got his Ultra Instinct, which has already given him better chakra control than what he initially had. He knows Rasengan. He has a summoning jutsu. He knows a couple wind jutsu as well. Nothing huge in the wind jutsu department, but he knows a couple wind jutsu. And he also has the Shadow Clone Shuriken jutsu. So, and this Naruto can't do it one-handed, but he can still make a Rasengan with two hands. So I think during the time period, one of the big things, besides making that bigger Rasengan, which he could pretty much do anyway, he even did that with the Kyuubi chakra as well, is learn to do a Rasengan with one hand. But we would expect him to gain better chakra control as his training goes on. So learning to make one Rasengan with one hand, and he even does the Great Ball Rasengan, basically that volleyball Rasengan with one hand, learning that. I think he gets that down. Learning a couple extra Winjutsu, thanks to maybe some scrolls that Ozma lent to Jiraiya or something like that. Sure, Jiraiya has access to them because a lot of the Toads actually know it, or at least Grandma Toad knew it. I can't remember her name. So, and besides the great breakthrough in Gale Palm, he might learn like oh God, I can't remember the name of it, but essentially the one that Donzo used, where it was like blades. He blew out, he took a breath, and blades of wind came out. And for the sake of continuity between my other one, a technique known as the Tornado Fist. That's right, I stole that from Yu Yu Hakusho. I think that'd be an awesome technique to have in the Naruto universe anyway. And Naruto even figured out that he can do the whole push. The Rasengan gets enveloped by the tornado, kind of starts to develop a Wind Rasengan, fires it, and you get that effect. He can't combine those things right now though. Other than that, I mean, the Genjutsu thing, he learns how to do that. He spent a lot of time working on his Ultra Instinct. I think to the point where even Jiraiya has trouble nailing Naruto at that point. That's going to be just one of the things he becomes known as. Whereas his dad was the Yellow Flash, it's like he's the Yellow Blur. So he moves so fast you just can't. You basically, unless you're a specialized or extremely fast opponent, you just can't tag him. Is there anything else I'd give him that would make sense? Again, because Naruto's already has a slightly easier time learning jutsu because, again, just slightly better chakra nature, and he has kind of figured out some of the shadow clone jutsu a little bit in terms of what it's capable of doing. In terms of learning, would he learn anything else? Like I said, a couple more Winjutsu, the Tornado Fist I gave him, that blade technique. Wind Bullet. I think the Wind Bullet would be a perfectly suitable technique for him to learn. I want to say he could learn more, and by all accounts, he probably could. But right now, I don't think that's the case. I don't think there's anything in the progression of Naruto's abilities because a lot of people keep saying, like, you should have Naruto learn this, you should have Naruto learn that. If it doesn't make sense to the story, I'm not going to have him, for instance, learn the Flying Thunder God right off the top, or Sage Mode during his 3 years training, unless it makes sense to me. And it doesn't make sense to me to do something like that right now. By the way, people have given me those what ifs, so don't worry. Those what ifs will happen. Like, what if you learned those techniques? Or what if you learned techniques here when you were a lot earlier in the story? So those what ifs will happen. I just first got to finish up the what ifs I'm doing. Now, luckily, the other one is getting close to wrapping up. I think I got maybe 2 more videos left in it. Maybe one when Sunday rolls around. We'll see what happens. Yeah, basically that's where Naruto's going to be up. There's a lot more Winjutsu, can down to a one-handed Rasengan, which is actually a big improvement. Great Ball Rasengan, combine the Tornado Fist with the Rasengan or the Great Ball Rasengan, and then you get something like a finisher move kind of thing. His Ultra Instinct's improved drastically. He's got the Shadow Clone Shuriken Jutsu. And maybe the Exploding Chakra. You know what? That seems like a logical move that he could learn in natural progression. The Exploding Shadow Clone could work as well. So that's where we leave off. Naruto, arrives at the village. Honestly, most of the interactions when he arrives back at the village would probably be the same. Him and Sakura. I was like, you look just the same, Sakura. And then she just clocks him. Sasuke, it shows up. It's like, it's been a while, Dre. This is Tim. And then, they'll give them the stairs. And then Tsunade says, all right, that's enough, you idiots. Now it's been a while since you've been in the village, Naruto, so we're definitely going to have to test your skills. So then that's where we're going to go into the bell test. To sum up the bell test real quick, I refer you to... Well, no, I won't refer to you. I think I can plow through that real quick. I think because Kakashi knows he probably couldn't take all 3 of them on at this point. Particularly, so I'll even say this. in terms of the amount of pure power they all have, Naruto, well, we know, is actually the strongest with the most potential. In terms of actual amount of skills and techniques under their belt, Sasuke is actually the best. In terms of the most balanced, it would probably be Sakura. Sakura is actually the most balanced at this point, and could easily give either of them a solid run for their money. So it would probably be Naruto. So Kakashi would probably have Guy. He'd probably have Naruto, or not Naruto. Guy, and I think Haku would be there. I think it'd be Guy, him, and Haku. Haku, by the way, at this point, would probably be dating Ino. I think they'd finally be a thing, and Ino would be more than happy with her. Very feminine, yet masculine and sweet and caring, lovely, lovely Haku. Haku would have made Ambu at this point, and a fight between them would begin. I think you'd get the initial early stages of the fight where Naruto comes in. It's like, I didn't say start yet, and they'd be trading off partners back and forth. Now, just to sum up how I think each fight goes, let's say Sasuke and Haku go toe to toe, Sakura and Kakashi, and Naruto and Guy. Sasuke probably would probably want to have a solid match against Haku. Because, even though he's been in the village, he doesn't get enough time to see him, and Haku's always been someone he's respected at this point. So they'd probably start off with a quick taijutsu. Sasuke would be blocking most of the Senbons, be firing things like water, which Haku would freeze, which Sasuke would throw fire at, and with training would probably melt the ice at this rate. He'd probably be able to do that. Have his Sharingan to keep up. And then at that point, trade off one of the other fighters. Naruto would be struggling against Guy for a while, but, as Guy comes in, maybe creates a tornado fist, it rebounds off the tornado fist, and then, a clone pops up, and then a Rasengan comes. Guy's almost gets tagged by that, but at that moment, Naruto switches one of his teammates. Sakura, reveals where Kakashi's location is, stomps creates a crater with her fist, and then summons trees out from underneath there. Kakashi's immediately using fire jutsu to counteract that. Sakura's using water jutsu, but Kakashi would probably use smoke bombs or exploding tags. Switch off, and then you would get scenarios where, and I'm just summing it up mostly because I'm a little pressed for time here. I'm summing up the scenario. They would win, but if it were to really come down to life or death, they really wanted to kill him. First off, Guy could blitz any one of them. If Guy really wanted to go all out, not even using all 8 gates. If Guy just wanted to use 6 or 7 gates, or 5 or 6 gates, he could probably blitz any one of them. But ultimately, it would come down to them using their teamwork to probably overpower one at a time. Haku is clearly the weakest of the 3 between Guy, him, and Kakashi. And honestly, I think between the rotations, they'd actually probably put Haku down. Haku would be out of the game for a while. And then it'd be Guy and Kakashi, who unfortunately is probably one of the best tag teams you can think of in the Naruto universe, because they're close friends, worked together for years, and just complement each other ultimately. And then you'd have Team 7 versus Guy and Kakashi. And that would be a pretty badass fight. Naruto maybe even would put on maybe put on a just standard chakra cloak, fox cloak, not the not in the tails, but just enough to show it off, and him and Guy would be going toe to toe. Now, Guy would have the speed and reflexes to actually to hit Naruto, because he's a taijutsu master. But even with all of his skill, he'd still have trouble doing it, especially with Naruto, Ultra Instinct plus controlled Kyuubi mode, at least base form, Flame and Aura, and they just, and they going back and forth, which would be really cool. Then Naruto quickly grabs a hold of Sakura, who then grabs onto Guy, and maybe they clash, and Guy's fist kind of crack, but then she quickly grabs his arm with some branches, then does like an earth style, and then Kakashi basically has to go toe to toe with Sasuke again, which would he be used to at this point. But then substitutes Naruto, who then has a Rasengan waiting for him, and then Kakashi barely gets out of the way. Ultimately, it would still lead to everyone more or less coming out where they need to be. That ultimately they would still lose because it's still Guy and Kakashi. They're still way too powerful and way too experienced for them to ultimately deal with. But they proved their point. They proved their merit. Naruto's still getting though, which is funny. Sasuke will hold that over his head for a while, and then nothing will really change until we get to the Gaara retrieval arc. Everything else plays out the same. Mirabai says like, why is it Naruto with Hinata? Because there's nothing in the story that would change them being together, would allow them to be together earlier. So yeah, that's where we're gonna leave it off. This was one of the shorter ones, but I wanted to get it out while it was still Wednesday, so I'm not really behind. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. I just heard win Star Wars Super Magic. What if anything I do on the channel? Put that in the comments below. Let me know. I'll get to that at some point. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Later.